Guys, I had this sermon prepared, now I don't really know what to do. Because today I was going to preach a sermon titled Dysfunctional Families, and then one of mine shows up. Didn't even know. But I'm going to go ahead, he can just tell all the rest of them about it. It's good to be in the house of the Lord, isn't it? We're going to be in one of the it's one of the minor prophets. You may not read this a lot, but it's got some good, great stuff in it. We're going to be in Habakkuk 1. It's the one that starts with H and has a bunch of K's in it. Habakkuk 1 through 12 is what I'm going to be reading. When you get there, won't you stand? A bunch of y'all haven't really there yet. There's no way you found Habakkuk that fast. Oh, I had that marked. I've been reading it there. Praise God. Habakkuk 1 through 12 says, the oracle that Habakkuk the prophet received. This is Habakkuk's complaint right here. It says, how long, O Lord, must I call for help? But you do not listen, or cry out to you violence. But you do not save. Why do you make me look at injustice? Why do you tolerate wrong? Notice the big thing here is why? Why do you tolerate wrong? Destruction and violence are before me. There is strife and conflict abounds. Therefore the law is paralyzed and justice never prevails. The wicked hem in the righteous, so that justice is perverted. Now this is the Lord's answer in verse 5. It says, look at nations and watch and be utterly amazed. For I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe, even if you were told. I am raising up the Babylonians, the ruthless and impetuous people who sweep across the whole earth to seize dwelling places not their own. They are a feared and dreaded people. They are a law to themselves and promote their own honor. Their horses are swifter than leopards, fiercer than wolves at dusk. Their cavalry gallops headlong. Their horsemen come from afar. They fly like a vulture swooping to devour. They all come bent on violence. Their hordes advance like a desert wind and gather prisoners like sand. They deride kings and scoff at rulers. They laugh at all fortified cities. They build earthen ramps and capture them. Then they sweep past like the wind and go on, guilty men whose own strength is in their God. O Lord, are you not from everlasting? My God, my Holy One, we will not die. O Lord, they have appointed them to execute judgment. O Rock, you have ordained them to punish. Now here I'm going to kind of let you know, if you don't really know where we're at right now. Habakkuk is speaking to God. He is a prophet, and he is talking about his people, the Israelites, those people. And he's saying, God, why are you letting them live like this? Why are you allowing all that? They're awful. They're just awful. And you're letting them live like this, and I'm just, every day I get up and I see something else, another travesty, another problem. I see this, and why are you allowing this to happen? And the Lord says, I've got a plan. Right? Shocker, huh? He always has a plan. He says, I have a plan, and he begins to tell about it and how this all is going to go down. Who knows that this ain't the way Habakkuk seen it happening. But it was God's perfect plan. Today I was going to say this before we pray. In your life, you may say, this is not the way it's supposed to happen. This wasn't my idea. This ain't what I thought life was supposed to be. This ain't what I thought 2017 was supposed to be. This ain't what I thought this week was supposed to be. But can I tell you, God has a plan. Grab onto that. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you right now so thankful that you are here in our midst, so thankful that we can come here today and be rejuvenated by you, be filled up to fullness. Lord, right now we ask that you just bless each and every individual here. Lord, let my words not be heard, but your words through me, Lord. Bless this service, Lord, that we all leave here refreshed, changed, renewed. Something we need for today. And we'll give you the praise and we'll give you the glory. And everybody says, amen. So right now, we're going to jump away from this for just a second. We're going to jump away from Habakkuk. We're going to come back, don't worry. But we're going to go to what I talked about earlier, which is, we're going to talk about dysfunctional families. Who knows the Bible is full of, you're not the only one with a dysfunctional family. Who knows that today? We'll start there. The Bible is full of them. The Bible is full of people and families that had struggles and had problems. And I think I've got like a favorite, and it is Moses and Aaron and Miriam, right? That was kind of the family, it was the family that God called to lead his people out of bondage in Egypt. And they had like the greatest qualities about them, right? They did. They had a lot of great qualities. But they also had some major struggles, didn't they? We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how God can use people with dysfunction. Now, here I want to verify this today. It can be said that, hey, the Lord will use you in your dysfunction. I think that misinterprets things. I don't think the Lord uses Kendall in his dysfunction. I think he brings Kendall up above his dysfunction and uses him there. And that's what we're going to see here in these people that happens. God doesn't want to use you in your faults and in your struggles. Because your faults and struggles muddy things up. He wants to bring you above those things. Rise up above those and use you in his pure love and his goodness. So let's start talking about these people. We're going to start with the girl here, Miriam. Everybody knows if you went to Branson and watched Moses, and that's like the coolest thing ever. We went, it was really neat. I kind of thought he might be there signing autographs. He wasn't. A little disappointed there, but it's all right. Well, we went and we watched the show, and it was phenomenal. It really was good. They show Miriam come out, and she's basket girl, and she's the one that followed the basket. She had faith. When Moses come back, she's the one that was for Moses. When he comes, she was the real deal, right? But Miriam also had her faults. She had her dysfunction. There's a church down south that my stepmom attended sometimes, and as a child, that's where she went as a child, I guess. Well, we started going there after her and my dad got married. They started going to go there and visit. We'd go to this church. And Dad laid in me on this. There was more tambourines in that church than people. Wasn't there? They all played one. And here's the thing about a tambourine. If you know how to use one, it sounds good. 1 in 10 people really know how to use one. Almost 1 in 100. And there was about 100 in there. And, well, they get with it. They play it. And Miriam was kind of like some of these tambourine players. She thought it was necessary for her to be up front and to be loud. And no one else really did. She thought, boy, I'll get up there and I'll be somebody. And she began to think this. This is kind of what happened to her. Good woman. I don't want you to begin to think mean things about Miriam, because she just was flawed like everybody else in the world, right? She's personal. So what she would do is she got this mindset, in my opinion, and studying this out, she got this mindset was she was around Moses a lot. Therefore, she was around the presence of God a lot, right? So I think she got kind of used to being around the presence of God, and I think she began to kind of have this skewed view that she kind of was the presence of God, right? That she kind of was that she was around it so much that that's kind of what she was. Who knows if we can get that way sometimes if we're not careful. We can get where, we kind of get to thinking, I've been in church 40 years. I've seen it all in church. I've seen the Lord move countless times. And we begin to kind of think that that's who we are. I've seen the Spirit so much, I kind of am the Spirit. That's who I am. And we kind of get this mindset about us if we aren't careful. And here we see Miriam has her struggle, and it is noted in Numbers. Get there. Numbers 12. We're going to talk about what Miriam, her struggle is here just a little bit. Numbers 12, 1 through 15, it says, Miriam and Aaron began to talk about Moses because of his Cushite wife, for he had married a Cushite. Has the Lord spoken only through Moses, they asked? Hasn't he also spoken through us, and the Lord heard this? Now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. At once the Lord said to Moses, Aaron and Miriam, come out to the tent of meeting, all three of you. You ever heard of a come to Jesus meeting? This literally was one. Come out to the tent of meeting, all three of you. So the three of them came out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud. He stood at the entrance to the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. When both of them stepped forward, he said, listen to my words. When a prophet of the Lord is among you, I reveal myself to him in visions. I speak to him in dreams. And this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? The anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. When the cloud lifted from above the tent, there stood Miriam, leprous, like snow. Aaron turned toward and saw that she had leprosy. And he said to Moses, Please, my Lord, do not hold against us the sin we have so foolishly committed. Do not let her be like a stillborn infant coming from its mother's womb with its flesh half eaten away. So Moses cried out to the Lord, O God, please heal her. The Lord replied to Moses, If her father had spit in her face, would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days? Confine her outside the camp for 7 days. After that, she can be brought back. So Miriam was confined outside the camp for 7 days. The people did not move on until she was brought back. After that, the people left Hazareth and encamped in the desert of Paran. So here we see Miriam, like I said a while ago, I think she got so used to being around Moses and then around the Spirit and around the cloud that is God, and I think she got so used to being in that she allowed her heart to kind of become prideful. And she began to think, that's who I am with Miriam, one who runs with God. And when I speak for God. And she started speaking things that, who knows, were not godly. One, she was talking about Moses. I believe there was some jealousy in that, don't you? She begins to badmouth Moses. See, Moses' wife had passed, and he had married a Cushite woman, Cushite Ethiopian. He had married a black woman. And she began to speak against that as if her speaking against it made it wrong. Who knows today that God decides what's right and wrong, not people? Right? So here she begins to speak against this. She begins to badmouth him. She begins to whisper to Aaron, and I guarantee you a lot of other people. And here now the Lord, like I said, He has a little bit of come to Jesus, or a lot of them come to Jesus meeting. He says, hey, let's talk about this. Who knows when Jesus calls you out and says, let's talk, you talk. Right? When the Lord calls you out and says, let's have a visit, we have a visit. So He calls them out and He begins to speak to them. Begins to tell them the wrong things, how what she was done was wrong. He begins to kind of put her in her place. He says, hey, Moses is the most humble man in the world. He's the most humble man on earth. He begins to chastise him. So let's look and see what Miriam's problems caused. Right? It says that, first of all, it caused God to leave him. That's as bad as it gets. Isn't it? It says He left him. Who knows God will not tolerate evil. He's not going to be around it. So it says He left. So let's look here. Miriam's jealousy and her prejudice caused God's presence to leave that place. How do you explain that to everybody? Second thing it does is it causes strife on the family, doesn't it? That's Moses' brother. That's Moses. It causes strife on the family. Nextly, obviously, it causes strife on her. She's a leper now. I don't know if you realize really how bad that is. It's horrible. Being a leper was not only a terminal disease for you, but it was also something that it also put you in complete exile. It's like this. Imagine being diagnosed with cancer and then saying, hey, you can't be around anybody. Right? That's kind of what it would be like. Hey, you've got stage 4 cancer and you can't have any kind of support system. You've got to go away. You've got to be all by yourself. Can you imagine the torment and the agony and the mental anguish and everything else that would be with that? That's what she put herself through. So that's what she laid upon herself by being negative and beginning to speak things that were not godly things. Speak things that were her opinion, that had nothing biblical backing, no any kind of backing there that was of God. So here now she's that. And lastly, we see this. What does the Bible say? It says she had to go away for 7 days, right? And what else does the Bible say? It says they did not go anywhere, did they? And the people did not move on till she was brought back. Can I tell you today, when we as Christians begin to speak things negative on people, when we begin to try to put our own ideas that have no biblical backing at all, when we get to trying to tell maybe what mom and daddy said or grandma and grandpa said, it's something that had nothing, there's no biblical backing there. When we begin to try to spew that stuff, it's a form of hatred. When we begin to spew that stuff in churches, and around our families. It hurts everybody. And just like Miriam, it completely stops progress, and a good progress. The Hebrew children wandered the desert for how long? 40 years. A week of it was because of Miriam. Right? A week of it was all because of Miriam and what she did. Today, I don't want to be that person that everybody, we have to sit around and we can't move forward because somebody is out of the will of God. Because somebody has felt like they're what they think is bigger than what everybody else thinks. Or what God thinks. Maybe I should have said it that way. What God thinks and what God knows. I'm just going to be really blunt in this because first of all, I can't really not be because I'm not smart. But I'm going to be blunt because also that's just the easiest way to do it, and that's what I'm going to do. Can I tell you today that we may have had parents that were really good people. And we may have had grandparents that are really, really good people. And we may have had great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents that were really good people. But they don't decide what's right and wrong. The Bible decides what's right and wrong. Are you with me? Okay. Can I tell you this? The Bible says racism will not be tolerated. That's right, isn't it? The Bible says racism won't be tolerated. Miriam, that was prejudice, what she was doing. She was saying, this woman, Moses, isn't good enough to be around us. And God said, that won't be tolerated around me. I've heard a lot of people say, well, I was just raised a certain way. That's okay. You don't have to be that way. And just because you were raised that way, don't make it right. I know this ain't fun, guys, but it's truth. You need to listen to it. It's truth. Just because we were raised a certain way to believe a certain thing. God says, I'm not a respecter of persons. The Bible says, whosoever will. If that's what God says, who am I to say, well, no, actually, this one can't, or that one can't, or not this and this one, they can't be together. Who am I to say that? Let's be very, very careful when we, especially in a church or around people that we can influence, begin to speak our opinion and not Bible. Be very, very, very careful. But, thank God that's not the end of the story for Miriam, right? While she did stop progress, while she did encounter some horrible, horrible things, there was retribution. Because you know why? Moses called out to God and said, please heal her. The person that probably should have been hurt more than anybody said, please heal her. And he did. He did. The tambourine can be a great thing if it's played right. But when it's played wrong, it can kind of cause a stir, can't it? Miriam had the ability to play it the right way. But she had a little spell where she didn't. But you know what? The Lord showed her her wrongness, disciplined her, and then brought her back out and said, move forward. And that's what He can do for all of us. He didn't use her in her prejudice. That's what I want you to understand today. He didn't use her in her prejudice, in her dysfunction, in her jealousy. He brought her up above that and said, that's not the way we live, and then used her. And that's what He wants to do for us. All right, so we got Mary. We got the tambourine player. I got hit with a tambourine one time, y'all. It does not feel good. Things can get out of hand. And because you want to hear the story, I'll tell it. I was at a church, and I was in the front row, and just praying. Y'all know I'm godly, you know. So I'm up there, I'm just praying, enjoying the presence of the Lord. And somebody here needed prayer, and they needed the tambourine to get involved in that prayer. I guess that's just what the Lord had called that time moment. And they get to playing that thing, and here I am. I'm just, me, Kendall, just here, enjoying. And next thing I know, that thing hits me, and I'm not for sure because I had my eyes closed, but I think they were praying, and they hit me like this, and I'm in the front row, kind of brought me back. But I'm not sure, she may have just waylaid me with it, I don't know. But be careful with the tambourine. Okay, next person here we want to talk about Aaron. I'm a cartoon guy. I enjoy cartoons. I watch them because Bradley thinks I watch them because of him, but I'd probably watch it if he wasn't around. I like some of them. I like the older ones. And anybody know who Droopy was? Aaron, y'all. I like Aaron. Aaron is staff man, right? He's the guy with the staff. He's the real deal. It's Aaron. When Moses went to the Pharaoh, there was Aaron. He's the real guy. I mean, he was a man of faith. He was there. But he kind of had that droopy syndrome. Eeyore, I guess you call it Eeyore too. You know, just kind of, well, whatever y'all want, we'll do it. He battled people pleasing just a little bit, didn't he? And he battled these things, but I don't think that was the core problem with Aaron. I think Aaron's major problem was a little deeper than that, and I think it was this. He was around Moses. He seen all these great feats that happened around Moses, and I believe he began to buy into Moses. And I think his faith was built on Moses. And I think his foundation was laid on Moses. So when Moses wasn't around, Aaron had nothing to hold on to. Once again, can I tell you, our moms and dads can be the best people, but our relationship with God shouldn't be built on our moms and dads. Our grandparents can be, I've got godly grandparents. My relationship with Jesus isn't built on my grandparents. It's built on Jesus. And when we build it in the wrong places, things happen, right? Here we see Moses isn't around. Moses is gone. Moses is gone being with God, face to face. And there's Aaron, by himself. No Moses around to lean on. And the people come up and they say, hey, we want to go and calf, right? Moses is gone. He may be gone forever. We don't know. And we want to go and calf. And there's Aaron. You know, I'm wondering what he's thinking. I wish Moses would get back. Right? Oh, hey, droopy there. I wish he'd get back. So then finally he says, well, go get your jewelry and whatnot. And they go and get it. He builds a calf, right? Let's read this. This is something we need to read. He builds this calf. He's swayed by people. I've stated this before. You asked Aaron the day before and said, hey, you know, tomorrow you're going to build a calf. He'd say, no, I won't. Ain't that right, Moses? That's what he would have said, right? No, I won't. Let's go to this real quick, guys. Here we are in Exodus 32. It says, when the people saw that Moses was so long in coming down from the mountains, they gathered around Aaron and said, come, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. Aaron answered them, take off the gold earrings that your wives, your sons, and your daughters are wearing, and bring them to me. So all the people took off their earrings and brought them to Aaron. He took what they handed him and made it into an idol cast in the shape of a calf, fashioning it with a tool. Then they said, these are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. When Aaron saw this, he built an altar in front of the calf and announced, tomorrow there will be a festival to the Lord. So the next day the people rose early and sacrificed burnt offerings and considered fellowship offerings. Afterward they sat down to eat and drink and got up to indulge in revelry. Then the Lord said to Moses, go down, because your people whom you brought up out of Egypt have become corrupt. They have been quick to turn away from what I have commanded them and have made themselves an idol cast in the shape of a calf. They have bowed down to it and sacrificed it and have said, these are your gods, O Lord, who brought you up out of Egypt. So it says, I'm going to jump forward to 15. It says, Moses turned and went to the mountain with the 2 tablets of the testimony in his hands. They were inscribed on both sides, front and back. The tablets were the work of God. The writing was the writing of God engraved on the tablets. When Joshua heard the noise of the people shouting, he said, Moses, there's a sound of war in the camp. Moses replied, it's not the sound of victory. It is not the sound of defeat. It is the sound of singing that I hear. Okay, now let's jump forward now to 21, verse 21. He said to Aaron, what did these people do to you that you led them into such great sin? And now listen to what Aaron has to say. This is good, right? Droopy here. Do not be angry, my Lord, Aaron answered. You know how prone these people are to evil. They said to me, make us gods who will go before us. As for this fellow Moses who brought us up out of Egypt, we don't know what has happened to him. So I told him, whoever had any gold jewelry, take it off. Then they gave me the gold, and I threw it in the fire, and out came a calf. That's great, huh? Magic. Oh. So now that Aaron's back, or now that Moses is back, Aaron's kind of back now, right? Moses was gone, Aaron was weak. Yeah, I'll make you a calf. Moses is back. He says, Moses, you know these poor little folk, they're so prone to evil. Here, I just do some jewelry in a fire, and poof, here come a calf. Bless their hearts. Can you not see now who Aaron is completely on who Aaron's around? And we say, poor Aaron, why would you be this way? But do we not struggle with the very same thing? Who we are around is oftentimes who we are. Who knows that's not God's perfect plan for our life? When Moses is there, Aaron was as strong as anybody. Because that is who Aaron had built himself upon. But when Moses was gone, Aaron was as weak as anybody because he was built on nothing that was around. Can I tell you today, God's perfect plan for you is not for you to lean on the relationship with Christ if you're a person that you live with, whether it be your parent, your spouse, or anything like that. That's not God's perfect plan for you to let them be your lifeline to Christ. His perfect plan for you is for you to Him to have a lifeline. You and Him to have that relationship. And when you do, I promise you, you'll be as strong by yourself as you are around anybody. Amen. You'll be as strong in this group as you are in that group. Because it ain't about you. It's about Him. There's Aaron. Struggling. Because he put it all in the wrong place. Moses was a good guy, wasn't he? There's no denying that. He was as humble guy as he was, strong in faith. He was a great guy. But he was still a guy. I know some great, great people. I know some great ministers. But they still aren't the ones I got to put my faith in. Because they will fail. They will not be around. They will get busy. That's what's great about God. He's always around. He's always there. He's always... He was with Moses and he was with the people. He's seen them at the same time. He told Moses, hey, things are going bad down there. All seeing, all knowing. That's who God is. Let's move forward now to Moses. Big Moses fan. I love preaching on Moses like that. I just enjoy it because Moses was so much good despite so much struggle. Right? He stuttered. I heard a minister one time describe Moses like this, and I think it's probably close to dead on. He said he was like a Middle Eastern Yosemite Sam. He had an anger problem, right? He got frustrated. He kind of stuttered. He said, I just guarantee you that's exactly. He said he just went around and, he had these struggles, but despite it all, God raised him up above it and used him miraculously. But I'm telling you, I'm probably pretty close. And here's what we see happens now. We're talking about dysfunction. We went through Miriam, we went through Aaron, we're talking about Moses now. Moses is traveling with these folks, and boy, they're griping, ain't they? They're griping, they're complaining, everything else. And the Lord tells Moses, hey, speak to these rocks and water will come out. Right? Because they're thirsty. They're in the desert. They're in the wilderness. Right? And then you just have all these griping and nitpicking and complaining. Everybody, Egypt was so much better. They're still quoting how much better Egypt was. And all this thing's going on, and Moses just gets sick of it, doesn't he? And he allows his anger to show, and he takes his staff and he hits this rock, and water comes out, and the people drink. Now, most people would look at this and say, well, it's all the same. Water came out. Maybe he did it a little differently. But who knows? God doesn't just care about the result. He cares about how we get the result. Right? And for this, Moses was banished from the promised land. Was not able to go. Could not go to the promised land because of this anger that he showed. Now what happened there? What caused this anger? What happened here that made this happen? And I can only come up with this. Moses got so aggravated at these people because they had struggles. They had doubt. They had fear. They had a spirit of complaining. They had all these things, and he got so mad at them that it caused it to happen, right? But was there not a time where Moses had doubt? And Moses had fear? And Moses was confused? Was there not those times? What happened was Moses forgot about those. There was a time at the burning bush where Moses said, who am I to be doing this? He had doubt. Who am I? Who are you? There was times where Moses said, the Pharaoh ain't ever going to let this happen. He doubted. He had fear. They're going to kill me if I go back there to Egypt. He had all those same feelings that they were having, but Moses had a time where I guess he forgot about it. And he wanted these people to not be people. He wanted to be perfect. Can I tell you today, if your kids are perfect, they don't need a parent? Right? I was at a meeting last week, and I went and we had ate Pizza Hut, and one of the consultants for the company was with me, and we were talking, and he said, here's the deal, guys. He talked to me and a few others. He said, if your employees were perfect, they wouldn't need you. That's a good one, right? And that goes the same for if your home was perfect, they wouldn't need parents. If your church was perfect, it wouldn't need leaders, right? Nothing is perfect. Don't expect perfection out of people, that you'll be disappointed. And here Moses was just seeing people being people, and it infuriated him because he forgot, hey, wasn't that long ago I was having these very same questions, and I was having these very same struggles. Can I tell you today, the quickest way to be let down is expect people to be better than what you could ever be. Expect people, hold people to a higher standard than what you can ever live up to, and watch yourself be let down, watch yourself get frustrated, and watch yourself get angry. Because it ain't going to happen. And there Moses has his struggle. I'm going to close up right here, guys. I want you to realize this. I told you all about these people, these three people who had great, great qualities, but also had struggles, also had their issues. But here's the deal. Did God not still use them all the same? Habakkuk says, Lord, why do I have to see all this? Why do I have to be around all this sin? Why do I have to be all around all this struggle? Why? And God says, I've got a plan, and it's going to involve the Babylonians. And he says, well, hang on a second, they're horrible. And God says, I will use them despite it. Today, can I tell you, Miriam, Aaron, Moses, they had things about them that was a struggle. But God lifted them up above them and used it anyway. And used them anyway. Lifted them above it and used them anyway. And here's the deal. They learned from it. I guarantee it. Do you think Miriam's last moments on this earth, if somebody went over and said, hey, let's talk about Moses' wife, or let's talk about Moses, you think she'd have done that, or you think she'd have said no? Been there, done that. Learned from that. I ain't doing it. Or if you went to Aaron and said, hey, Aaron, let's build a calf. You think he'd have done it? No. Been there, learned from that. God brought me above that. And do you think Moses, as he is standing there, overlooking, because he got to see the promised land, overlooking the promised land, seeing it right before his last moments on this earth, as he's seeing the promised land, do you really think he cared about people griping anymore? Do you really think he cared and got all upset over people being people? No. I think he just took in what was the promised land, what was God's promise to him. And I think he just looked at it and just looked at it, just soaked that in. Because they weren't the same people they were before the incident. God took them through the incident and let them rain, brought them above it. Are you with me? And he can do the same thing for each one of us. Today, you may struggle with jealousy of somebody, or you may struggle with some prejudice or some things like that. Who knows? God wants to use you above that. You may struggle with hey, Kendall, when I'm at church, it's so easy to be a Christian, but then when I go to work and everybody has their way of being, it's just so hard, and I fall out. I fall right into that. Or when I go and hang out with my buddies at school, I just fall right into that. Can I tell you today, God wants to He wants to use you, and He wants to bring you above that. And today, if you're here and you say, Kendall, I just get so frustrated with people. I see them every day, I'm around them, and I just get aggravated, I get mad, and I get... Can I tell you today, just remember that every struggle they have, you have it too. I have it too. If we ever forget about our struggles, they'll show up. Right? We ever forget about our faults, I promise you they'll show up. Today, He wants to bring you above that, bring you in and use you today. just like he used Moses. Moses led a flock of people out of slavery and into promised land, into God's perfect will for them, right? And who knows today that's really spiritually what he's calling all of us to do in some way or another, whether it be your family, may it be your co-workers, may it be your friends at school, if you're still in school, teachers, the children you teach. He's wanting you to take a group of people and lead them in his perfect will. And you know what? We may have our struggles, we may have whatnot. She's saying, it's time to close, please. We may have our struggles, we may have our whatnots, but guess what? He's going to be there and he's going to bring us through. I want to encourage you with that today. I hope this was encouraging. I hope this wasn't anything negative, because that is what God's an encourager. He is an encourager. Let's all stand. So glad to have everybody. Tonight we're going to have a tambourine Sunday night, so if you get a chance to bring your tambourine and come on out, we have a big time. Everybody at the music room, I'll kill you. But no, come tonight and remember we're going to have our services tonight. God's been doing great things in that. I'm excited. Had VBS last Sunday night, and so we missed it, but we had a great VBS. That was just phenomenal. Jill did a great job. This guy, Mega, he was phenomenal. But anyways, let's just pray with a little prayer right now. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you and we